The UFC is no stranger to downright violent rivalries. It's what pretty much drove this sport into the huge success it has become today. Whether we want to admit it or not, we're all pretty much captivated by the unfiltered drama these fighters bring to each other. All of the dedication, sacrifices, and hardcore training it takes to become the champion of a certain division surely makes it easier for them to bump heads with each other as they fight for their rise to the top. This is a very intense sport, where the only way you're paying the bills is by stepping in the cage and doing your very best to beat the ever-living hell out of your opposition. And as humans tend to do, we naturally gravitate towards the drama side of things, and it really goes without saying, but the MMA universe surely provides a lot on that aspect. There's nothing like a good savage feud that gets the MMA fans hooked on the upcoming fight. And the more intense the rivalry gets, the more those pay-per-view numbers go up. Cause hey, who doesn't love watching these guys go back and forth with each other, screaming every insult they can think of in their battle of mental warfare? And over the course of its lifespan, the heated competition within the UFC has given us some very memorable moments.
You didn't break my face. I got right up and protested it right away. That was a fake stoppage, fake ref, fake fight. Wait till I see you next time. Wait till I see you next time, Marty Fake Newsman. You're dead. You're dead. We got unfinished business. Really? You better show up.
Wanna know.
Please stop.
I can't let you get close. Can you hear my Stop.
Kimbo, a few words?
I'll just wait till I get asked the question.
Okay, Dada?
Listen, I thank each and every one of you guys.
You fool! Shut up, man.
Man, listen.
You ain't got shit to say.
Listen.
But there's only one rivalry in particular that I'm interested in covering, and it's the insane beef between the Eagle Khabib Nurmagomedov and the notorious Conor McGregor. To say that these two had bad blood for each other would be an understatement. The overall bitterness these two had for each other was on a whole other level, and this what made the fight one of the biggest and most unforgettable matches in the history of the UFC. And I've always had the urge to do a video revisiting and analyzing the entire build up to this fight, along with talking about its satisfying conclusion. So without wasting any more of your time, let's take a look back at this catastrophic conflict these two had to settle within the octagon. So taking a good look within the personality of these two fighters, you only end up coming with the conclusion that these two are complete polar opposites. Starting with Conor McGregor, you have this average guy who wanted to quit his boring 9-to-5 job working as a plumber to pursue his dreams of becoming an MMA world champion.
I ended up getting a trade as a plumber, literally up in the back arse of nowhere up in the Wicklow Mountains. And funny enough, that site was one of the biggest sites in Europe. Kilternan, it was right at that skiing place. Huge, and now it's just abandoned. Now it's just deserted. So I used to go up there 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. I was on that M50. I used to have to walk to the N4, about half an hour from my house, wait for some Limerick guy that I didn't even know. He'd drive on the M4 and I'd have to flag him down. Nightmare, yeah. 2 hours down on the M50, 2 hours back. Literally 14-hour days, and I was the first year, so I had to go and do everything. I had to go to the shop. I had to go and get this and get that. So I always had trouble with that, and I was like, this isn't for me. This is not for me.
How long did you last?
I lasted 18 months doing it. But it was tough, you know. It wasn't the life for me, you know what I mean? And then John said, because I was training with John as well at the time, and then John got in touch and says, I have a show, I'm running a show, I'd like to fight on it. And then that was it. I just packed it in, didn't show up. My dad used to come in and punch the head at me and like try and drag me out of bed, and I just wouldn't go, you know what I mean? I had uproar for a good few years with him over it. And that was it. I just packed it in, quit, and then focused on training.
And he was able to do so once he joined the obscure promotion called Cage Warriors and managed to win the featherweight title by submission. And later down the line, he would win the lightweight title as well, making him a double champion before he even became one in the UFC. It was really something inspiring. But just to note that he didn't have one single title defense since obtaining these belts. And once he debuted in the UFC in 2013 and won his fight against Marcus Brimage in spectacular fashion, he quickly became a national hero. And thanks to his natural sense of humor, coupled with the fact that he showed a lot of potential as a fighter, it didn't take long for his name to start buzzing in the States as well.
And this place is on its feet. I know this is Boston, and I know they're Irish, so I grew up here. I know they go crazy for anything Irish, but this is something unusual.
And as Conor started growing with this abnormal surge of popularity, the UFC started realizing that he was going to become their moneymaker, the poster boy of the company. someone that you can build pay-per-views around. And Conor wasn't shy on capitalizing off his popularity as well. Once he felt like he reached the top of the mountain, he started becoming more of a businessman than a professional fighter. All of a sudden there was the Burger King ads and Proper 12 and doing the money fights. During his prime, he truly felt like he was untouchable, to the point where he even started lashing out on the fans of the sport. Conor went from being a national icon who gave everything to the sport of MMA, to a rich, coked out Irish dude who was spending more time punching old people in bars than focusing on his career. Now on the flip side, we have Khabib Nurmagomedov. Khabib is someone who pretty much grew up his entire life fighting. His spirit is unbreakable, and along with his amazing record, the skill set Khabib brings to the octagon gives him a sense of damn near invincibility. Khabib's father, Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, helped run a military-style training camp that made young kids like Khabib into the unstoppable fighter he is today. His training methods were pretty brutal, but seeing how life is growing up in a tough place like Dagestan, it becomes much easier to realize that his parents truly did have good intentions for him, even if their methods might seem a bit extreme to the Western world. Fighting is a way of life in Dagestan. It's ingrained into their culture, and growing up, Khabib was already showing signs of being a prodigy.
One time my cousin fight in the street.
All right.
He lose, and I go fight. I said, now you need fight with me. 14 years.
You were 14?
Yes, 14 or 15. And I fight with him, and I beat this guy, and he say, okay, his brother now fight with me.
Oh, he brought his brother.
Yes.
Okay.
But this guy think I'm tired.
Tired?
This guy think
Okay.
I'm tired. I fight maybe 4 or 5 minutes with him. Finish him choke, and after he say, hey, now you need fight with me. Okay, he come, I finish him too.
Yeah.
I choke.
I mean, for fuck's sake, his father had him wrestling a bear. It doesn't get any more Russian than that. And even through all the mentally breaking training Khabib had to endure, he still loved and respected his father to the point of calling him his primary motivation for becoming a great fighter. So when you really look at it, Khabib was simply destined to fight his ass off. It's in his core. It's a part of who he is as a person. Fighting and discipline is what made Khabib such a highly respected figure in the UFC. Conor was quick to let fame and money control him and lead him down a path full of temptation, while Khabib was driven by his principles and never betrayed his morals that his religion and his father established for him. Conor and Khabib are both equally confident in their abilities within the octagon. However, they carry themselves pretty differently. While Conor thrives on the verbal side of things, taking any advantage he can with getting inside his opponent's head, Khabib is more matter-of-fact about how he sees the outcome of the fight. When he talks about how he's gonna win, it's like he's not even trying to be disrespectful. He's just being blunt on how things are gonna play out.
For Max, it's gonna be a long night. I respect him, it's gonna be a long night, because Max gonna try to knock me out in front of my old people, my team, my friends, or family. And when cage close, I'm gonna give him hard 25 minutes. Thank you, inshallah.
Khabib was never the one to engage in trash talking and trying to win the mental warfare game. Instead, he opted to let his abilities in the ring speak for itself. So when these two were eventually booked to fight each other, not only was it a fight for the title, it was a fight between two different skill sets. One being the outstanding striker who can pull a knockout finish when you least expect it. The other being a very dominant grappler who can take you down to the canvas seemingly whenever he felt like it. Everything that Conor McGregor stood for, his lavish lifestyle, the unapologetic attitude, the overbearing ego he carried like a chip on his shoulder, and the perspective of someone like Khabib, these traits will make him a complete mockery in his homeland. So it was a no-brainer to have these two different types of personalities fight it out with each other with such high stakes on the line. So believe it or not, but Khabib and Conor actually started out being pretty cool with each other. Here's a picture Khabib posted on his Twitter back in 2014, after Conor's first round knockout victory over Dustin Poirier, a fight that birthed the character of Mystic Mac, and kicked off yet another heated rivalry that was going to come back to haunt Conor's legacy. But don't get it twisted, Khabib and Conor did seem cordial with one another around this point of time, but it wasn't long before shots were thrown around, and the signs of a fight happening between the two seemed all the more plausible. In 2015, Conor had received his shot to fight against featherweight champion Jose Aldo after obtaining a second round TKO against Dennis Seaver. After the fight, we saw Conor jumping over the cage to get into the face of Jose, demanding a fight for the featherweight belt. Now I want you to remember this moment for later in the video, cause this will all come full circle. To help boost the ratings for their fight, the UFC had the bright idea to take Jose and Conor on a world tour to promote their upcoming title match that was scheduled for July 11, 2015. And during one of these press conferences, Conor talked about making the move towards the lightweight division. When he was asked about who he thought would be champion by the time he made this move, he predicted it would be Khabib to be the one to hold the belt.
Conor McGregor! My question for you is, when Jose Aldo's chin hits the floor in 4, who exactly are you going to go up and take the belt from at 155? Whoever has it. Who do you predict is going to have it? I think Khabib will get the lightweight belt. All right.
Conor McGregor said that if he wins at 145 pounds, he wants to move up to 155. What do you think?
No, I like Conor McGregor, but he come 155. For me, it's smash him. No problem. He's striking guy. I like him. I think he can beat Jose Aldo, maybe finish him. But a lot of people think Jose Aldo beat him. But my opinion, I think he kill him. But if he come 155, welcome.
Do you like his trash talk?
I don't know. His trash talk is no bad. And he know how make money, everything, and 5-0 in UFC, 4 finish, and these guys know easy money. But if he come 155, welcome, no problem.
But unexpectedly, Jose had to pull out of the fight due to suffering a rib injury in training. Conor was then rescheduled to fight Chad Mendes for the interim featherweight title, and even though Chad was able to showcase his great wrestling ability in the first round, something Conor was clearly struggling to fight against, he was able to knock him out in the second, winning the interim title and being the #1 contender for the belt. Conor and Jose were now booked to have a title fight on December 12, 2015 for UFC 194, and this is where we saw the mental desolation of Jose Aldo. This man couldn't speak English to save his fucking life, but you put this dude up against one of the best trash talkers to ever come out of the UFC. He couldn't understand a single damn word that was coming out of McGregor's mouth, but Conor still found ways to get underneath this dude's skin and verbally torture him in a language he couldn't even comprehend.
Oh, it's not mine? Thanks so much.
He might get mad.
Who might get mad? Where is he at? What's he gonna do? Take a picture here.
It's your fault.
I didn't do anything. Yeah, I'm gonna go stand somewhere else.
No dream. Your dream.
You like it?
Yeah, no dream.
It looks good, right?
No, never.
Say goodbye.
Never.
Come get it.
You?
Come get it. Come get it. You little old fuck. Come get it. Yeah, what you gonna do? You wanna do something? You wanna do something? You wanna do something? You're a Brazilian bitch. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? You little bitch. I'll take that belt. You'll do nothing. You'll do nothing. That's gonna hit you right in the chin. Right. Yeah. Who's he holding back? He's not holding you back. 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 Little pussy. Little pussy. Little pussy.
Jose is a very respectful person and champion, and he held the belt for over a decade. So to have everything you worked so hard to achieve be disregarded and mocked by a large and ever-growing toxic fan base, it can be just a tad bit frustrating to listen to.
I'm the champion. I'm the real champion. You're looking at the king of Dublin, yeah? You're looking at him. Looking at
It was obvious to see just how uncomfortable these press conferences and interviews made Jose feel, while Conor was loving every second of picking Jose apart, knowing without a doubt that Jose wasn't going to be able to defend himself well against his methods of verbal assault. The way Conor reads people, and sets them up for his traps as unlike any other fighter around this point of time. He wanted to apply this huge amount of pressure to Jose. He wanted to make it seem like this was much more than just a fight for the title. His insults were not only targeted towards him, but towards his fellow countrymen. So not only did Jose have to defend his title, but also carried the burden of defending his country as well. Now the only thing Jose could think about was how he was gonna fuck Conor up once they stepped into the octagon, instead of focusing on a game plan, or some kind of strategy to turn this fight into his favor. And sadly, he fell straight into McGregor's trap. It only took 13 seconds to put Jose's long title reign to a somber end, gearing the hype train for Conor into full speed. You would have thought, being a top level fighter, that Jose wouldn't just run in blindly with his chin up into a left hand that floored him instantly. But it was clear to see that everything during the build up to this fight put his emotions in overdrive. Meanwhile, Conor was stone cold focused on what he set out to accomplish. So once you really take a step back and analyze everything building up to this fight, Jose had already lost to Conor before they even stepped into the goddamn arena. While Conor was soaking up the limelight and self-gratification after delivering on everything he set out to do with the Jose Aldo fight, little did he know he was about to suffer one of the biggest blows to his UFC career, as MMA legend Nate Diaz called him out after beating Michael Johnson.
Fuck that! Conor McGregor, you're taking everything I work for, motherfucker! I'm gonna fight your fucking ass! You know what's the real fight? What's the real money fight is me, not these clowns that you already punked at the press conference. Don't no one want to see that. You know you beat them already. That's the easy fight. You want that real shit right here. Hey, and I'm not...
Unfortunately, we can't talk like that on Fox.
Conor was now about to move up to the lightweight division to face off against Rafael dos Anjos. But the fight was canceled due to Rafael pulling out with a foot injury, something Conor and UFC president Dana White immediately joked about. Nate Diaz was then offered to fight Conor on 2 weeks' notice, and after dealing with the complications of weight, Conor told Nate to get comfortable at 170, and the fight was officially announced for UFC 196. Conor, of course, went back to his usual methods of trying to mentally engineer Diaz into an emotional state. But unlike Eddie, Jose, and all of those who seemed to let Conor walk all over them, Nate was more than happy to throw the insults right back in Conor's face.
They go every other day.
I'm happy to go and do it.
I'm not gonna lose no weight over no shit. I don't give a fuck, and I said 155 from the
You
beginning.
didn't take 155 though. You did not take 155.
I did too. Initially,
you didn't take 155, Nick.
Yes, I did.
But that's cool. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Get comfortable. Get comfortable. 170. Get comfortable. 170, brother. Yeah, get comfortable.
I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck either. I don't give a fuck either.
Fuck you. Fuck you, Bell. I don't give a fuck what you say, motherfucker. Yeah, thugging on mine, motherfucker. What you got?
I don't care about weight.
They're all on steroids.
The only weight I care about.
They're all on steroids.
The only weight I care about. Steroids? What are you talking about? Steroids? Don't be putting my name in steroids. I'm major against that. Don't put my name in the name of steroids, Nate.
Everybody's on steroids. The whole UFC. Everybody.
Your teammate Gil and Jake were two caught on steroids. Not
and
me.
You and those
not me.
And
what are you talking about? Not me. I'm not on no steroids. What the fuck are you talking about?
You gotta recognize because he knows what's real. He knows this is the real.
See, you know.
You know that.
You know it's the real. It's the real. You know it's the real. You know it's the real. And you'll know Saturday night.
Yeah, right.
You'll know Saturday night.
You'll know.
You little fat skinny.
Yeah, right. No one knows what Gazelle is anyway. It's America. Get it right.
Nate Diaz has a fearless attitude and wasn't bothered nor intimidated by Conor's trash talk, probably because he was too stoned to even comprehend some of the shit Conor was saying. And while it was always Conor to be the one leaving behind these memorable lines during the build up to his fights, this time he was the one being verbally outclassed.
You're playing touch butt with that dork in the park, the ponytail. And I'm the one who ain't got no training partner. I don't think so. You seem to have it all figured out when you're fighting midgets.
No matter how much Conor tried, it was hard to break down someone who had the mental fortitude of a brick wall. Conor was forced to learn that you really can't get into the mind of someone who isn't even there himself.
They want you to give us a quick count to 10, both of you gentlemen, if you don't mind, just if you wouldn't mind counting to 10.
Nate can only count to 5. 10.
Oh.
The fight itself did highlight some of the issues Conor had making this jump to lightweight. Conor was still pretty accurate in his striking, but the power of his punches wasn't as threatening as it had been in featherweight. It also didn't help that Nate Diaz had a chin of iron, and tanked Conor's punches like a stoned out Terminator. After cracking McGregor with a powerful combination, the fight swayed directly into the hands of Diaz, and slowly but surely, Conor was starting to get his ass whooped, to the point he panicked and shot for the leg of Diaz. But trying to wrestle with a BBJ black belt is as pointless as King Cobra JFS trying to get over his alcoholism.
God damn it! Broke my fucking cigarette. Fuck!
Nate completely dominated Conor on the ground and legit punched this man into a rear naked choke. Conor had pretty much tapped as soon as the choke was locked in, and Nate Diaz had successfully derailed the hype train, and afterwards gave one of the best post-fight interviews in the UFC.
Nate Diaz, you just shook up the world. How's that feel? Hey, I'm not surprised.
After this fight, Conor was pretty much guaranteed an immediate rematch to avenge the only loss he had in the UFC. During the build-up to the second fight, Conor had eased up on the trash talking, knowing it wouldn't have much effect, and Nate Diaz just continued to be Nate Diaz.
Everybody's on steroids.
Conor was able to win the second fight by majority decision. It was a pretty close fight, but thanks to Conor's touch butt training in the park, he used it to run from Diaz whenever he was put into a bad situation. Now that Conor had redeemed himself, the UFC thought that now he deserved the chance to fight against Eddie Alvarez for the lightweight title at UFC 205, despite the fact that he had spent most of the year fighting Diaz, despite the fact that there were plenty of other contenders, including Khabib, who were much more worthy of that opportunity other than Conor McGregor. And Khabib wasn't afraid to share his thoughts about this on Twitter. It was clear to see the bias Dana had towards this little Irish moneymaker, and it showed that it doesn't matter how well you've been performing in the octagon. If your name couldn't bring in the money, then you weren't headlining anything. On the day of the weigh-ins, Conor and Khabib got into a little altercation backstage, and it had to be broken up by security before things could get out of control.
Guys, security, yo, security, come on.
Say something.
Please,
I want to say something.
Please, gentlemen, please.
No, it's okay. I want to.
Come on, guys, fuck this guy. Fuck this motherfucker.
Hey, I will smash you.
Go.
We'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
I saw video how he look with Tyron Woodley morning, and after my weigh-in when I go, he watched me. I say what? Maybe he think I'm Tyron Woodley or Eddie Alvarez. I'm different.
There's a moment here brewing between Tyron Woodley and Conor McGregor. They are eyeing each other.
Please. Fuck you. Please. Please walk. Please walk. Please walk. Put your little camera phone. Pussy. You're like a woman. You're like a woman with that phone. Fucking bitch.
Oh, what's up? Not much.
We need your assistance.
Fucking bitch. Whip out your camera phone now. Whip out your little camera phone now. You little fucking bitch.
Some of us will focus on greatness, finish straps.
You know, I'm living in the street. Where I'm from, this is different. This is not about like camera here or not camera here. This is not about this. This is about different. For me, it's all my life. I have a lot of fight in the street. I know when I come to professional, I stop this because I can hurt somebody. But I have big experience. He watching like me, like for me, it's like nothing happened. It's okay.
Thanks, guys.
But I think very soon. Very soon.
Khabib was also fighting on the same card as Conor, going up against Mike Johnson. And this fight was absolutely brutal. Mike was just being thrown around and mauled by Khabib, who told him he needed to give up, and was also talking to Dana White mid-fight as well.
Dana, you wanna talk a little bit? You wanna talk a little bit?
Hey, okay. You come for a special boy. Yes, of course. It's okay. We know. I know who I am. Come on. I know. Don't send the fake.
This is some pretty funny shit. Imagine getting your ass whooped by a guy who's not even really paying attention to the fight. Khabib was able to close this one out in round 3 due to a deadly looking submission that seemed close to breaking Johnson's arm. Afterwards, he called out McGregor during his interview.
Your guy, beginning of the year, he tap like chicken. End of the year, he fight for the title. Crazy. Irish, only 6 million. Russian, 150 million. I wanna fight with your chicken because this is #1 easy fight in lightweight division.
Conor, on the other hand, has successfully beaten Eddie Alvarez in round 2, becoming the UFC's first ever double champion. While he didn't give a response to Khabib's call out, he was able to give a pretty memorable interview himself.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the fuck he wants.
Afterwards, both fighters did a press conference talking about a possible fight between the two.
How confident are you you'll get a title shot now? Especially after that post-fight speech.
What do you think?
It doesn't matter what I think.
What do you think? I deserve?
I think it's likely.
You think I deserve this?
Deserve, yes, but that doesn't, what does that mean?
This is like, we don't know, maybe you wanna say, oh, we no make decision, Dana no make decision, this guy make decision, like this?
Did you talk to Dana White or anyone else?
You talk about like, we don't know, maybe Conor make different decision?
Maybe.
This is #1 bullshit. I think all Irish fans understand who deserve this. I think I have a lot of Irish fans too, you know, because I dominate with all my opponents, you know. Conor come to lightweight and he talk about, oh, I'm greatest, but you guys know, beginning of the year he tap like chicken, end of the year he fight for the title. You know, this is very interesting. How this, I don't understand. Maybe if he lose tonight and DC beat Anthony Johnson, John Jones out, maybe DC need new opponent and UFC promote him, oh, let's go light heavyweight and he fight for the title with DC. Why not? UFC can make this. You know, UFC very big PR machine. And if UFC make this, I think a lot of fans agree because he all the time tap, come to lightweight, fight for the title. And what about like about real contenders? What about this? Why Tony Ferguson no fight? Why I am no fight for the title? Because this is not any more sport. And you know what interesting? Now I feel I can fight with anybody in anywhere in lightweight division, not only about like competition. I feel I am ready for pay-per-view show too.
It was a good performance. I mean, what he was talking as well was, I mean, look, he's fought once in 8 years. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't fight too frequent for my liking. Like, for me to commit to something like that, I need to be solid proof that people are going to show up, and he's a consistent pull-out merchant. He had a good performance tonight. Fair play to him. We'll see. We'll see where it goes, but I need to see active. I need to see activity. I need to see consistency. I need to see me. You know what I mean? If you want me to come and change your life, if you want me to come pick you, you better have some damn reasons for me to do that. So, we'll see how that goes.
Conor's double champ status didn't last for long, however. After not defending the belt since he won it back from Aldo in 2015, the UFC stripped him away from the featherweight title due to inactivity on November 26, 2016. This didn't matter too much to Conor, because in early December, he was granted his boxing license by the California State Athletic Commission, which pretty much confirmed the theories of a fight between him and Floyd Mayweather. While Conor was out, Khabib and Tony Ferguson were scheduled to fight for the interim lightweight championship, and during the press conference to their fight, Khabib of course took more shots towards Conor McGregor.
And so what is your plan? You say that you'll be the new champion, you'll be the official champion after March 4th, after the fight against Tony, and you don't think that Conor wants to fight you. So what do you think will happen? Like, what is your plan? What do you want to see happen after this fight? Will you try to convince them to make the Conor fight, or will you just look for another contender in the division?
I don't give a shit about Conor. I think about only belt. When I come to the UFC, I never think about Conor. Oh, I want to fight with him, make money, something like this. I think about only belt, you know. I think I beat Tony Ferguson after Conor say, hey, he don't want to defend his title because he never defend his title, and I fight with another tough contender, I don't know who's become, maybe Michael Chiesa, maybe like Barboza, somebody like this.
But don't you think you could stand to make a lot more money fighting him, right? I mean, it'd be good for your life and your career, no?
You need money?
For me? I mean, it is the fight game, right? Prize fighting. The whole point is to make money, right?
It's okay.
Okay.
I want to fight for the title, just.
But sadly, Khabib suffered an injury during weight cutting and had to be pulled out of the fight at the last moment. 3 months later in June, Conor put out a tweet officially confirming the boxing match between him and Floyd Mayweather that was going to take place on August 26, 2017. This was nothing more than just a money fight, plain and simple, as Conor will earn $100 million just from participating. I can really get in depth with this fight, including the build up towards it, but I feel like that would take up way too much time, and covering everything will really make this video a lot longer than it already is, so we'll just summarize the whole thing for now. During an interview leading to this fight, Conor was asked about having a match with Khabib in his homeland.
And also we heard from Dana White today that you want to fight Khabib in Russia. Is that what you want to do after this? Are you coming back to the UFC?
That's certainly an option that I'm exploring. That would be a spectacle. It'd be like something out of Rocky. I suppose this whole story is like a Rocky story, right? So why not face a man in his home country, and you know what I mean, in a crazy place like Russia. So it's certainly something I'd like to do. There's a couple of options on the table. We'll see what unfolds.
Will you be back in the UFC by the end of the year?
I believe so. I believe I'll come out with this fight without a scratch. A couple of weeks then to refresh the jiu-jitsu and my wrestling. Not that I've stopped training that either. I've still kept up on that, just less. And then we'll see what happens.
Conor had lost this bout with Floyd in the 10th round via TKO. Even though he had lost what was the biggest boxing match of all time, the fact that he made such an absurd amount of money and would have his name buzzing from the fight afterwards, losing was just a minor blemish in the grand scheme of things. 2 months after their fight, Tony Ferguson was able to submit Kevin Lee in the 3rd round to win the interim lightweight title. In his post-fight interview, he called out Conor, especially for not defending the lightweight belt.
Where you at, McNuggets, you piece of I'm gonna kick your ass! You better come and defend that belt! Defend or vacate!
With no noise coming from Conor, Khabib made his MMA return facing off against Edson Barboza at UFC 219 in December of 2017. From the moment the match started, all the way towards the end, Barboza was just getting mauled and manhandled all throughout the octagon. It was really amazing to witness this, knowing how powerful of a striker Barboza really is, but Khabib just made him look like child's play. Barboza had no answers for Khabib's brutal ground and pound, and Khabib easily won this fight via unanimous decision. With still no information on whether Conor was coming back to the UFC, Khabib and Tony Ferguson were scheduled to fight for the lightweight championship for UFC 223 on April 7, 2018, simultaneously stripping Conor of the belt as soon as the match started. Dana gave more insight about this during the press conference for this fight.
Right here, Dana.
Hey, buddy.
Right here to your left.
You called Tony the champ. Obviously, that sort of begs the question, is there an update you can give us on Conor McGregor?
I have no update. The winner of this fight will be the champion.
So does that mean that Conor will be stripped by the time this fight takes place?
We'll see what happens.
Okay. And then my follow-up on that is, does it bother you that you have to be in a position to perhaps make that kind of a decision?
No. I said leading into the Mayweather fight, I made it pretty clear. I've been in this business for a very long time. When you make an obscene amount of money like that, who knows if they'll ever come back? And right now, the position we're in, Conor's saying, maybe I'll come back in August, maybe I'll come back in September. Well, that's almost 2 years. It's not fair to the rest of the guys in the division. The division has to go on. You know, these guys have been, you know, fighting their whole career. Everybody wants to get to that pinnacle. And it's the fair thing to do. Listen, I mean, I take so much shit for how much I like Conor McGregor and everything else, but the division has to go on.
Sure. And I will get to the two guys that are fighting for a lightweight title here in 2 seconds, but Dana, if you could tell me, this may not damage Conor's reputation as a star overall, but do you think that sitting out for this long damages his star power as an MMA fighter amongst his peers or amongst the fans?
I think Conor McGregor is like not only one of the biggest stars in mixed martial art, one of the biggest stars in all of sports on earth. So I think that this fight is ridiculous. And after this fight happens, whenever Conor does decide to come back, I think it will be massive.
Before the fight started, Conor took to Twitter putting out a tweet that only said stay ready, hinting that if one of the fighters would pull out, that he would be there to take their place. Khabib held him up to that and responded by saying be ready, stay on the line.
I went straight to his jiu-jitsu coach. I called Eddie, talked to him on the phone.
Your good friend.
Yeah. So, and Eddie gave me the full rundown of what happened with Tony. It's like he saw somebody and he turned to say hi to somebody, didn't see some wires on the ground, tripped over some wires and just blew his shit out. And Eddie was on the podcast yesterday. And Eddie was saying that Tony wanted to fight, or day before yesterday. Tony wanted to fight. They wouldn't let him fight.
Yeah.
His ligament is torn
LCL,
from
right?
the bone.
Which is rare, which is hard to do.
Where is that one? Lateral, whatever.
Collateral ligament, some shit.
Now that Tony was out of the fight, Khabib put out a tweet asking if Conor was going to stay true to what he said earlier, which really didn't get a response. Tony was replaced by Max Holloway, and everything seemed all fine and dandy. But that wouldn't last long at all.
You throw a mean counter, but I blocked it. If I didn't block, I would have knocked me out. Look at him. The first game. Make no sense.
No! Open the fucking door, you fucking bitch!
Ali, just calm, cool it.
Open the fucking door.
Take it easy.
Open the door.
What the fuck, you fucking pussies? Fuck you!
Back it up!
Dude, what the fuck? Hey, what the fuck?
Oh shit!
Just keep getting back.
What the fuck?
You alright, Mike?
I can't sit down. I have glass in my hands and shit.
You got a fucking trash can.
That's why all y'all fucking
Dude, what the fuck?
Ray, come to the back. You don't need to be in that.
Dude, what the fuck?
You don't need to be in that.
Did my cut bad? I don't want to touch my face.
You guys fucking say, oh, only 2 guys in the corner. Oh, because we know this. And how he get 30 guys with him?
I want to give you the door right now.
He come here,
This guy,
security, camera, like show up.
Hey.
One of my fighters needs medical
Look at this. Look at this. Sorry, Rose.
What older, you gotta be.
Fucking bitch. Now he come with another guy. What happened? Hey, I give you 2 seconds. I already give you
Cut. Fucking
big cut.
cut fucking Kesa, man. And Rose almost fucking cut too.
I don't know, I had that feeling.
We are in the loading dock, but we're gonna be exiting the loading dock.
There's a bag on that back seat. Do you mind handing it to me? There should be a bag over there. Yeah, thanks, man.
You send me a video?
It is what it is. Hey, just send me a message. Where? I'm gonna come. Just send me a message. Of course, they know a lot of security here, media. It's gonna be big. You understand? They come with 30 people. Come here. Send me a message, like location. I'm gonna come. Whatever you want, doesn't matter. Ireland, New York, Brooklyn, or Moscow, doesn't matter. Tell me, where? Yesterday I give you slab, Artyom, I give you slab. You eat this like a woman, like baby. What happened now? Something changed? Or you with 30 people? Let me know, and that's it. For you, this one for Conor, like this. Let me know, and that's it.
Artem Lobov is an MMA fighter with a record of 13 wins and 15 losses. He was born and raised in Russia, but moved to Dublin, Ireland, and became good friends with Conor after they met in the gym. Artem became a bit more mainstream when he was introduced into The Ultimate Fighter, with Conor McGregor being one of the 2 head coaches. Unfortunately for him and Conor, Artem was eliminated before the show could even begin. However, an opportunity arose to bring back one eliminated fighter during the season. And of course, Conor chose to bring back his best buddy Artem.
Of course, I will have a stronger bond and a more deeper connection with Artem. I'm not gonna fake it and say I don't and it's all equal, because it's not. I was here for Artem.
After getting his spot in the UFC, Artem became one of Conor's primary sparring partners, making their friendship even stronger than it already was. So of course when Artem was asked to give his thoughts on Khabib, he really didn't have too many nice things to say about the guy.
Вот. И все равно Конор принял этот бой, даже не моргнул глазом. И вышел, и победил. В то время, когда Хабиб снимался уже 6 раз. Он снимается, у него там чуть-чуть заболело, у него там в заднице или еще где-то. Он снимается. Вес не может даже сделать. Ему наплевать на фанатов, что там все прилетели к нему из России. Там одну визу получить, сколько это занимает. Сколько стоят билеты прилететь. Люди потратились, прилетели его смотреть. А он просто не вышел. Причем не 1 раз, не 2 раза, не 3 раза, не 4 раза. Так кто здесь чикен у нас? Кто боится? Конор выходит каждый раз, несмотря ни на что. Он настоящий боец, он настоящий чемпион. Чемпион — это не только пояс вокруг твоего, у тебя, а чемпион — это сложение ума. Чемпион — это как бьется твое сердце. И Конор настоящий чемпион. Хабибу до него, как до Китая.
This was brought to Khabib's attention, and being called a pussy and a coward is really something Khabib doesn't take lightly. Like I said earlier, every aspect of Khabib's life revolves around fighting. If there's one thing he knows best, it's throwing them goddamn hands. And being pushed to your limits over and over again, just so you can climb to the top of the sport. I wouldn't appreciate being called a coward either. So on April 3rd, just 4 days away from the Max Holloway fight, Khabib was on that gangster shit and called Artem in the hallway and confronted him on what he said in that interview.
Не говори мое имя, просто ты меня понял? Ты понял или нет, я тебя спрошу. Лицо скажи. Ты говоришь, что ты говорил? Как не говорил? Как не говорил, ты поэтому лучше не говори такие вещи. Или нет, я тебя спрошу. Лицо скажи. Ты говорил, что я говорил? Как не говорил? Как не говорил, ты поэтому говорил. Лучше не говори такие вещи.
After Khabib smacked that boy like Dana White smacking his wife, Khabib was asked about this confrontation just a day later in a pre-fight press conference.
There was an incident with Artem Lobov and a few of your teammates. Can you comment on what happened during that incident?
Nothing happened.
There was a video of a confrontation. How did that come about?
I don't see this video.
Just a day later, while Khabib and the other fighters were loading onto the buses, Conor had gathered a large group of drunk Irish guys. And oh yeah, Artem was there too, and flew out all the way to Brooklyn to confront Khabib and demand him to get off the bus. He ended up injuring Michael Chiesa and Ray Borg, making them have to cancel their fights based on what he did. This bus attack showed how reckless and out of control Conor had became. Like, how you gonna pull up on somebody and fuck up everyone except for the one you was aiming for? Khabib was looking unfazed by the whole thing and dismantled the whole stunt Conor pulled by simply telling him to just send him a time and place for them to meet and settle things.
Just tell me where, and that's it. Why you need to come here? Show up like you wanna fight or something like this. Send me a message, hey, come here, this place, and that's it. Without security, without UFC, without nothing. Just send me a message, let me know where, and that's it. And with what time. Let me know, and that's it.
Dana also seemed disappointed in Conor, calling this the most disgusting thing that ever happened in the UFC.
This is the most disgusting thing that has ever happened in the history of the company. And there is a warrant out for Conor McGregor's arrest, and they're looking for him right now. His plane cannot take off. He cannot leave the state of New York with this warrant. They'll be grounded, and I'm assuming eventually, if they don't catch him, he'll turn himself in. You can imagine he's going to be sued beyond belief, and this was a real bad career move for him.
Yeah, I know it's fresh, but you want to be in business with Conor McGregor?
Yeah, no, right now, no. Absolutely not.
What do you make of, why? What do you make of this?
Do you want to be in business with Conor McGregor right now? Do you want to chase this guy around for interviews and buy his fights? Do you? Yeah. No, I don't think anybody is going to want to right now. No, I think everybody's going to be pretty disgusted with Conor McGregor right now. Listen, you don't like Khabib and you don't like what happened or whatever, then fight Khabib. You can come in here and you can do it legally. If this fight's happening Saturday, we could have talked and made the Khabib fight right after. You could do whatever you wanted to Khabib within the limits of the rules of fighting. But you want to grab 30 friends and come down here and do what you did today? It's disgusting. And I don't think anybody is going to be, huge Conor McGregor fans after this.
But deep down, he knew, and we knew, that this was going to make great promotional material. Conor had turned himself in a day later and had to pay a $50,000 bond, which was basically a slap on the wrist to a guy who just made $100 million fighting Floyd Mayweather. Meanwhile, UFC 223 would go on, but Max Holloway would be cut out since he couldn't make weight, and would be replaced by Ali Quinta for the lightweight championship. Khabib went on to beat Ali Quinta by unanimous decision after dominating him for 5 rounds.
And I want to say thank you for my opponent and his team. Quinta is a real Brooklyn gangster. This is not about chicken. Quinta is real gangster. He come here, where's Conor? He want to fight with boss? I want to fight with real gangster,
On July 26, 2018, Conor McGregor accepted a plea deal. He was ordered to attend an anger management class, do community service, and pay a fee to fix the damages he caused to the bus. After stepping out of court, Conor addressed the public, thanking his fans and family for their support.
I just want to say I'm thankful to the DA and the judge for allowing me to move forward. I want to say to my friends, my family, my fans, thank you for the support. Thank you.
On August 2nd, 2018, Khabib was asked if the fight with Conor was confirmed or not. Khabib stated that he didn't really know yet, but if he ever saw him on the streets, then it was on site with him.
The chance of you fighting Conor, is there any update with this?
I don't know, brother. I don't know.
Do you have a prediction how this fight would end?
This fight?
Yeah, if you fought Conor, how would it end? Do you have a prediction?
Just smash it.
Did you see or hear the reports that his lawyer booked a ticket for Conor to go to Vegas for UFC 229? The rumors are that that's when the fight's going to happen.
But I don't care about him. If they want a money fight, pay me money.
Anyway, thanks so much.
Just a day later on August 3rd during a press conference, Dana White officially confirmed that the fight between Conor and Khabib was happening, and it was set for October 6, 2018 for UFC 229.
Sorry, John Morgan, I lied a little bit. They're not here, unfortunately. I know. But the fight is done. October, Las Vegas. It's on, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming out today, LA. We'll get the weigh-ins going here soon.
Now that the fight was finally confirmed, it had a lot of fans buzzing about Conor's return. Remember that Conor hasn't fought in the octagon ever since beating Eddie Alvarez for the lightweight title. It had been a whole 2 years since anyone ever saw him competing, and his return was going to be against the new undefeated lightweight champion. On September 20th, 2018, Conor and Khabib had their first press conference, and it was the first time the two had seen each other since the bus incident. You could just feel the bad blood boiling between the two, and Conor had no problems trying to instantly make things personal with Khabib. He was completely off the record with his insults. We had never seen Conor go this far with his trash talk before. He was saying anything he could to get under Khabib's skin, like trying to force him to drink whiskey when it's against his religion.
Here's a goggle for you, Dana. Proper 12.
I am not.
Proper 12 on me. Hang joy, hang joy. Here, hang joy. Just let me give him. It's his birthday.
I'm gonna go like
yeah, shine the bus. Happy birthday,
like,
shine the bus.
I don't drink.
Why don't you drink?
I don't drink.
Why don't you drink?
I never drink.
I'll tell you some buzz at parties.
I never drink.
You mad backwards cunt. You're dead when I get my hands on you, do you hear me? You're fucking dead.
I never drink.
I'll drink it. Me and the Irish Boston animal, Dana White, the OG of the fight game. He'll sup this bad boy.
I think it's gonna be a long night for him.
Yes! Oh, Lord, save me, that's tasty.
He knows this.
And when he made remarks about his father, his country, and his family.
His own countrymen, his own people that he's turned his back on, they want to see him gone too, and I am going to do it in the name of the Russian people.
Why you come here?
This.
Why you come here?
Because I'm gonna
But 6
love,
October,
I'm gonna love
6 October, what you gonna do?
Your misery
This is not
stomping on your
This is
head.
not about
and
whiskey.
if you pull out a fight, I'm gonna love what happens
I'm gonna
to you
mow
more.
you.
If you pull out this fight, I'm gonna love what happens to you, your family, and your team even more on your own soil. I'm gonna love that even more. So you just show up to this fight, and we'll do this the noble way. Pull out, and then you know what's gonna happen to you back home, kid. So that's all I'll say about that. I'm here for the joy, to enjoy
What's
it,
gonna happen?
to enjoy it.
What's gonna happen?
The Chechen people know what I'm talking
say.
about when I call this man a coward. When I call his father a quivering coward.
Which Chechen?
Him and Kadyrov were at a mosque together, and he posts a picture of Kadyrov on his Instagram site. Kadyrov is the Chechen dictator, a crazy man, don't get me wrong. But Khabib's father, lick arse oh fucking Houlihan, posts a picture of Kadyrov at this mosque, and Khabib's father posts a picture up, and the caption is, "Together we are stronger." It's such fake respect out of fear. The Chechens know, the Chechen people know that if the tables were turned and there was an opportunity for his father to stab that man in the back, he would do it in a heartbeat to take over. And he did not do nothing. And that's why he is a quivering coward, because he showed fake respect out of fear. And that's where that came from.
Promoting his proper 12 Irish whiskey throughout the press conference.
Proper 12! Proper Irish whiskey from a proper Irish animal. That's what I'm talking about. I came here to have a buzz with this. I almost didn't get the glass. I almost didn't get the bottle into the arena. I anticipated that. I anticipated that they weren't going to let me in with my big bottle. So I had a little sloy bottle brought in. You know, you see how tricks up my back pocket all over the gaff. I also brought my own belts because I knew they wouldn't have my fucking belts up here. I'd love a glass, or not a glass, even a cup, something I could toast with all these fine people here of my proper 12 Irish whiskey, if we could get that. If not, I'm probably going to start drinking it out of a bottle. If the bottle gets empty, I don't know what I'll do with this man and an empty bottle. You know what I'm like. So please, someone in the back, get me a cup, a plastic cup, please. Thank you. But anyway, Unsheva Life, and this beautiful, fine bottle of fucking Irish whiskey is going to dominate the game. Jameson is close. This is a direct competitor to Jameson. I am coming to take over the whiskey business. Look at the noise it has made. This is a true beast I have in my possession here.
And also calling him a coward for not stepping off the bus, and weirdly placing the blame on him for why those fighters got injured.
Did you not see me outside the bus now? Did you not see me right in front of you outside the fucking bus? I showed you my hands, no weapons. The first thing when I showed up at that bus, I showed not my hands to let it know I come here unarmed, no weapons. Step off the bus. You talked a big game, now I'm here. He done fucking nothing. He sat and took a shit on that bus, hid and cowered behind fucking women and caused what happened to happen. So that's fucking that.
But Khabib seemed to take things pretty well. Unlike Aldo, who folded underneath the spotlight of McGregor, he never seemed rattled by anything he said. Every time Conor went to a much more personal level, Khabib managed to bring the conversation back around to the fight at hand. He even managed to throw things back in the face of Conor when he brought up the situation with Artem.
Okay, but why you don't ask your friend, hey, when someone give you slap, you have to give him back? What happened? If we guys,
Artem knows what he should have done. He should have stitched you a loaf, took his few platters and got out of there.
Doesn't matter.
No, that doesn't matter.
10 people,
all good. All
two
good,
guys.
pal.
If
all
someone
good.
slap you,
it's
you
not
have to
got to
give
do
him
with
back.
him. It's not got to do with
This is your old teammates.
It's got to do with me and
Everybody
you. It's got to do with me and you, kid. It's got to do with me and you. So who gives a bollocks? Here I am. Here I am. Let's have a knock, mate.
Why?
Let's have a knock, mate.
Okay.
Let's have a knock, mate.
My friend,
you're afraid of a slap.
You're
afraid of a slap.
Why you
You're
don't give him
afraid of a
back?
slap.
You have to fight. If you lose, we're gonna come. What's wrong with him? What's wrong with your team? They everybody eat same now. One night they everybody eat slap, and next day, like when we have to go to press conference, you have to come to me. He say, hey, you can go with only one guy. You can go with only one guy. Okay, I'm gonna go, but I don't expect 10 people, 40 people, 30 people gonna come. If they come all week, we move with our own bus, with all my friends, with everybody. And UFC told me, hey, you guys have to go with one guy. Okay, I go. They come with 40 people. What changed? Nothing. But he have to ask his friend why he eats slap. He have to ask him. If you think he man, he have to ask him. This is what I think.
And the fact that Conor was now only taking fights for money and got so used to life in America that he's forgotten everything about his own country.
Ireland have their own language. What's wrong? English change your language?
Conor, chunas atá tú?
Chunas atá tú, tá mé go híntaach.
Bhfuil tú agsú leis an tred?
Tá mé agsú leis an tred. Yeah, I am looking forward to the fight, 100%.
Agus céir atá le rád fí Jose Aldo, what would you say about him as Gaeilge, más féidir? Don't worry, I don't have my cúna Donna, you're safe.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm a bit rusty now. I can understand what you're saying, but speaking I'm a little bit rusty.
Give it a whirl, sure.
Now you talk
We want to crack open that bottle.
Yeah.
Now we're either getting his face
now
off
you
going,
talk English?
I didn't know that was there.
What's wrong with your English?
Neil ain't fucking problem that more English, you mad rat.
Conor had always looked at himself as an apex predator, someone who could sense the fear in the eyes of other fighters. But Khabib showed no fear in the face of McGregor, and this took away one of the strongest elements he could bring to his fights, his overbearing pressure of mental warfare. On their second press conference just 2 days before their fight, Conor was late to the press conference in Vegas while Khabib and everyone else was on time, and he didn't want to wait around for Conor, so they just started the press conference without him. Khabib answered questions about how he felt about the bus incident, and if this had become more than just a championship fight in the octagon.
Khabib, over here, Khabib, to your right, Dana. Given what's happened in the build-up to this, and in New York, and the way you've been with each other, the discussion of Islam, the whiskey last week, has this become bigger than just a fight in a steel cage on a Saturday night?
Honestly, for me, this is more than defend my title. For me, it's more than fight for the title, more than main event. You know, for me, it's personal. Honestly, for me, it's personal. And of course, this is biggest fight in UFC history, and we're gonna break this record. Numbers already talk about this, and you know, for me, it's personal.
Just quickly, Khabib, what do you think of the crowd here? Because they've been very loud leading into this fight. Does it affect you at all, dealing with the booze? How's it affected you mentally? And are you surprised there's no more Russian fans here?
Hey, I love these fans, you know, because without these fans, this event is not happen, you know. And thank you so much, guys. They come here, buy tickets, airplane. they come, you know, like without fans is nothing happen. Thank you so much. And these guys give me motivation, you know. It's okay. They have to support this guy. I'm okay about this. Thank you guys. Hey guys, 15 minutes. 15 minutes, I'm here. This guy didn't come. This is big disrespect. And thank you so much. Tomorrow, 9 a.m., I'm gonna show you my weight. And see you tomorrow, guys. Have a good night.
Conor showed up just a few minutes after Khabib had walked off, and when he was asked whether or not he would squash the beef after all is said and done, Conor responded by saying the fire between the two will never die.
Do you see yourself being able to kind of squash the beef after fighting with him? Will you extend your hand after the fight on Saturday night?
Fuck peace. There will never be peace here. I always say you should aim for peace. But if you can't aim for peace, aim between the eyes. And that's it. I'm gonna aim right between that man's eyes. And this is never over. Never, ever, ever over.
The next day at the weigh-ins, both fighters made weight, and Conor did his best to agitate Khabib one last time during the face-off, but Khabib remained stoic as always. He was dead set on his game plan, and knew he was going to do all of his talking in the octagon tomorrow night. He then went on to give one of the most iconic interviews I had ever heard in the UFC.
Khabib, what does this fight mean to you to defend your title tomorrow night against Conor McGregor?
Hey, first of all, I want to say Alhamdulillah, God gave me everything. Alhamdulillah, I know you got this, they don't like this. Alhamdulillah, tomorrow night I'm gonna smash your boy, guys. I'm gonna smash your boy. And I want to say thank you, all Irish fans, you know, all fans around the world. Because of you guys, this fight is happening. Thank you guys, and tomorrow night, inshallah, and still.
Thank you, sir. Good luck to you. The champion, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all. We will see you all tomorrow night.
With 2.4 million pay-per-view buys and the sold-out T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, this had become the biggest event in UFC history. And on October 6th, the world was about to witness these two polar opposites finally step into the octagon and settle a beef that had been 3 years in the making. Where do I even begin with this fight? As soon as the match started, Conor was already on the ground faster than DSP spending his donation money. Conor was doing his best to stay calm and relaxed, throwing ground strikes and trying to get something going to escape Khabib's lethal ground game. But as usual, no matter how much Conor worked on his jiu-jitsu skills, it clearly wasn't comparing to Khabib's. Conor spent the entirety of round 1 on the ground, making it an easy 10-9 round for the lightweight champ. The second round was even more catastrophic for Conor when Khabib cracked him with a hard right hand, knocking him to the floor. He followed that up with a body slam, and Conor found himself right back on the ground, having to struggle against Khabib's overwhelming grappling. This is also where we saw Khabib talking to Conor as he was literally trying to cave his face in.
Oh, big right hands landing from Nurmagomedov, who came into this fight unquestionably in the best shape of his life.
Conor's talking to him. I can't hear what he's saying, but he's getting tagged.
No, that's Khabib talking, and he's not saying nice things.
Oh!
While Khabib was dropping shots on him, Dominic Cruz really had the balls to say that Conor was trying to tire out Khabib by taking shots to the face like a porn star going through dick.
And he's trying to gas Khabib out because he's taking shots, but they're not the worst shots you can take. He's covered up. It just doesn't look good.
I don't think he's trying to gas Khabib out. I think he's getting smashed.
This is also where we saw the beginning of Conor's cheating during the fight by giving Khabib an illegal knee to the head, then having his toes hooked into the cage to give himself some kind of leverage. Herb Dean gave him a warning, but shortly afterwards he did it again, and Herb Dean was just like, fuck it, I guess. Conor surprisingly managed to make it back to his feet, but couldn't do much as the round ended, making it a 10-8 in Khabib's favor. Conor was looking absolutely gassed out, while Khabib was just standing in his corner talking to his teammates. Round 3 is a strange one. It's the only round Conor won, but this is also where he turned his cheating up to the max. We saw him hooking his fingers into Khabib's glove, blatantly grabbing his shorts, and hitting him in the back of the head. most of this just going unnoticed by eagle-eye Herb Dean. As this round came to an end, Khabib had Conor pinned up against the cage, and before Herb Dean could separate the two, we heard Conor saying it's only business, as some sort of plea.
15 minutes in the books. We head to the championship rounds.
Grabbing.
If this is true, then that would mean that Khabib had a point when he said that Conor was full of shit for bringing a camera crew with him when he went to attack the bus. This wasn't about getting revenge for Artem. That was purely all for promotion. But none of that really mattered to Khabib. All of this was real to him, and he had been pushed way too far. As the round ended, Khabib had yet to sit down in his chair, instead using his time to argue with Herb Dean about Conor's blatant cheating.
Hey, he shouldn't be talking.
Then round 4 started.
Championship rounds, ladies and gentlemen.
Here we go. And Khabib, if you've watched his career, you know he's not in his element unless he is jabbing and talking to whomever. The referee, his opponent. Round 4.
Such a good job of using his legs to wrap up your legs. But Conor's back up to his feet almost.
And this is where Khabib really starts to get ahead from this position. Once he gets here, he doesn't let go of that grip. And he goes back and forth between the double, and he wears you out by putting all that pressure on your arms like that. Makes you carry his weight up against the fence.
Again, full mount, back mount.
There's the choke.
He's got it, it's under the neck.
There it is.
Nope, it's on the chin.
There's the tap! Still undisputed! Khabib Nurmagomedov!
This was just pure chaos. This dude had just whooped somebody's ass for 4 rounds straight. Then he went into the crowd to go fight with somebody else. Say what you want, but this nigga's endurance is impeccable. Now I don't really condone any of this, but from the way Conor's been talking during the build up to this fight, he wanted this war, and now he had it. It just so happened that the conclusion of it didn't turn out in his favor. And the commentators and the fan base were quick to single out Khabib for initiating this. They even called him a disgrace, and were praying for him to get stripped of the title and have it go back to Conor. But they suddenly forgot about Conor throwing a fucking dolly through a bus window, or the time where he jumped out of the cage to get into the face of Jose Aldo. But since it's Khabib, they wanted to see him thrown in jail like he just committed murder. Nobody was seriously injured as a result of this brawl, and it was stopped just as quickly as it popped off. Many people were wondering if Khabib was about to get disqualified, as he exited the ring without his title. But to the disdain of the McGregor fan base, Khabib was announced a winner, and still was the undefeated champion of the lightweight division. This wasn't the only L Conor took that night, cause after everything was said and done, a fight broke out between a couple of McGregor and Khabib's fans, which resulted in one of Conor's fanboys getting slipped. During the post-fight press conference, Dana White came in looking like a disappointed father and gave his thoughts on how everything was handled after the fight.
This is not what we're about. This isn't what we do. This isn't how we act. And you know, it's unfortunate that the night that the most people are watching, this shit show goes on that happened.
Khabib came in shortly afterwards and pointed out the hypocrisy the fans and the UFC had for taking Conor's side when they helped make all of this happen in the first place.
What's up, guys? How are you? First of all, I want to say sorry to Athletic Commission, Nevada, sorry to Vegas. I know this is not my best side, you know, this is not my best side. You know, I'm human being, and like, I don't understand how people can talk about I jump on the cage, you know. What about he talk about my religion, he talk about my country, he talk about my father. He come to Brooklyn and he broke bus, he almost killed couple people. What about this? What about this shit? Why people talk about I jump over the cage? Why people still talk about this? Like, I don't understand. I am respect. My father teach me, hey, you have to be always respectful. My old team, where I'm training California 7 years, everybody know who I am. All my friends, like everybody who know me, they know who I am, you know. And I told you guys, these guys, not only him, his whole team and him, they tap machines. You know, I told you guys, when you put him wrong way, he gonna tap. You know, what happened today? Like, they call him 2-time world champion, like 2 weight classes, but today he tap. And that's why, alhamdulillah, belt is here, undisputed, undefeated UFC lightweight champion. And you know, and I wanna say something like, you know, like people little bit, it's not people, I think it's media. Media a little bit change MMA. This is respect sport, you know. This is not trash talking sport. This is respect. So like I told you before, guys, I want to change this game. I don't want people talk shit about like opponents, talk shit about his father, like religion. You cannot talk about religion. You cannot talk about nation. You know, guys, you cannot talk about this stuff. And you know, this is for me is very important. And thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you for waiting for me here. I know my father gonna smash me when I go home because I know he's gonna smash me. And Nevada, sorry. Vegas, sorry. And alhamdulillah, undisputed, undefeated UFC lightweight champion. Thank you so much. And I'm very proud about, like all media talk about, he take picture with Putin, something like this. He just called me and he said he very proud of me. I win. And he said congratulations. And you know, I told you guys, everything I'm gonna change 6 October, and I do this. Alhamdulillah, thank you so much.
Khabib, can you talk about the fight before the brawl?
I think in a way this fight is what broke the old Conor McGregor. Remember that he hasn't lost a fight since beating Eddie Alvarez, and still believed himself to be the real champion, even after being stripped of both titles.
Khabib's carrying his belt around, Tony Ferguson's carrying a belt around. Where are your belts?
I was in a hurry, I was trying to get going, they're in my gaff, they're in my bedroom at the minute. But I actually forgot them as I came out, but there's a bloke gone back to get them. But because I was late and because that little backwards cunt sprinted off the stage, I was like, fuck it, I'll just come on the damn stage. Let them carry their fake belts, let them do this and do that. It's all good to me. I'm here, I know who the king is, and I'm gonna show it on Saturday night.
So now that he truly has been defeated, and Khabib backed up every single thing he said he was gonna do, especially with making him tap again, it was simply embarrassing for him. No amount of whiskey was gonna make this okay, and while he tried to play it cool on Twitter, he went on to make excuses for the reason he lost the fight.
My foot was a balloon. You wanna see it? Do you know what I mean? My toes came out of the socket. A guy had to come into the cage and break them back into place. The thing ballooned out. And I hobbled in there and walked them down and did not give 2 shits. And that was with a bad camp. That was with a half-committed camp.
Like I said, Dos Anjos has a bruise on his foot. Did you see it? It's a bruise. Ice. Ibuprofen. If I jumped under an x-ray, the doctor slapped me and said, "What are you doing, kid? Get out of here. Stop this."
And while Khabib went on to continue improving his legacy in the UFC, Conor went on to take another 4-year hiatus away from fighting. And while Khabib still doesn't have any nice words to say regarding Conor, he was mostly done with the entire thing, taking great satisfaction that he had beaten the UFC's golden child. Conor, however, was still pretty much holding on to the grudge, and the trauma from this loss still haunts him to this very day.
Because again, I go back to you, Conor. Nurmagomedov lost. Dustin Poirier lost.
Where's he gone, Bo? Where's he now?
He's retired.
Yeah, well, why? He went sprinting. He's gone. Shit, his jocks came fat and is riding off. He done nothing in the sport. F all he done in the sport. Yeah, oh, brilliant. And what?
He's never lost?
He was 13-0 fighting guys with 3 wins and 6 losses. It was his father's shows. His father had the shows set up, and he was fighting bleeding guys with like 2 wins and 8 losses and all. That's his record up until he's 20-0. He has 3 fights on the trot in the UFC. Before that, that done him well. And then before that, it's nothing. It's pullouts. Couldn't make weight. You know, that's that. So,
now, the last time
and now he's gone.
Okay.
From this video, you can tell that I have a very big bias towards Khabib, and that's very true. I still do respect Conor as a fighter, but Khabib carried himself like a true UFC champion. Once obtaining the gold and having the biggest fight in UFC history, he didn't lose himself in the spotlight like Conor did. He still stayed true to his principles. Khabib truly showed that your actions speak louder than your words ever can. And it's the prime example of how a true champion should always carry himself inside and outside the octagon. And that's it. This video has taken such a long time to make, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is my first UFC video, and I've always wanted to do something that was separate from DSP and log cows in general just to test things out. I've always seen comments saying I should use my voice for other things like reading or horror, and I am a big fan of the analog horror stuff, so you might see a video on that in the near future. Well, since you're here, how about you go check out my Patreon to help feed my addictions, and also check out my second channel where I do more gaming stuff, if you care that much. Depending on how well this video does, I will do a sequel going over the beef of Conor and Dustin Poirier, but for now, we'll most likely be going back to a bigger journey. Thanks for watching, and may God be with you all. Stay strong, brothers.